Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone. My name is Murnira Othman from Institute for Environment and Development, Respiratory, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. For today's conference, I want to present a research on an investigation of particulate matter concentration in indoor university microenvironments. Together with me, who had also involved in this study or research, are Prof. Dr. Muhammad Tariq Latif and Dr. Haris Hafizal Abdul Hamid, where all of us is from Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. In this presentation, I will discuss with all of you about the introduction on indoor air quality, the objective of the research, material and method used in the research, and the result obtained from this research. For introduction, the indoor air environment is believed to be more livable than the outdoor, and buildings are thought to provide shelter to humans in order to prevent from harmful substances. Indoor air pollution is one of the current issues as people tend to spend their time indoors, which about 80 to 90%. There are several factors that affected indoor air quality which related to indoor activity, such as movement in the building, cooking and cleaning, emission from indoor sources, ventilation system, and penetration from outdoor. Previous study had been undertaken on the indoor air quality, particularly on characteristic, composition, and sources of indoor pollution, which usually related to the investigation of particulate matter, PM. PM is one of the important indoor air pollutant which numerous studies have linked short-term exposure to particulate air pollution that increase rate of health outcome. The problem statement of this research is about the exposure to airborne substance that actually originating not outdoors but indoors. In addition, the concentration of many pollutants indoor exceed those outdoor. The location of highest concern are those involving prolonged, continuing exposure that is at home, school, and workplace as reported by American Lung Association, the American Medical Association, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. The literature review related to this study is that several literature have identified negative effect of particulate matter, especially PM2.5, that usually related to human health impact, where PM2.5 also being used as indicator for burden of disease studies. The health effect of poor air quality are far-reaching, with the most prominent effects seen on the respiratory and cardiovascular system. A 10 microgram per meter cubic increase of PM2.5 resulted of increase the risk of 0.52% of mortality, as reported by Seposo et al. 2018. Recent study by Izani et al. 2020 during COVID-19 lockdown in Klang Valley, Malaysia, had identified increase in exposure of indoor occupant to PM2.5 concentration due to cooking activities. Exposure of indoor residents was suggested to be 25.8% for lung cancer during lockdown. Thus, further impact of particulate in indoor environment was suggested to be further investigated. The office environment itself plays a significant role, and it's a place where the adult population have been found to spend about 30% of their time on a working day. Higher PM and other type of air pollutant such as ozone was observed due to the operation of photocopy machine and papers in office, which also poses health risks to office workers as reported by Othman et al. 2020. Investigation of PM2.5 in microenvironment in Europe suggested that higher contribution of outdoor source to indoor office, while for school, indoor activities and indoor source as the main contributor of PM2.5, as reported by Calimeri et al. 2019. Thus, the objective of this research are to determine the concentration of three sizes of particulate matter with additional parameters such as temperature, humidity, and carbon dioxide in the 10 different microenvironments to investigate temporal hourly variation of PM concentration in different microenvironments based on working hours and non-working hours, to identify the relationship of all size of PM with temperature, humidity, and carbon dioxide in different microenvironment. And the last one is to investigate the impact of indoor PM in human respiratory tract. This research was performed in Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, UK and Bangi, where 10 microenvironments were chosen in this research include office, laboratory, corridor, library, and mechanical workshop. Measurement of PM10, PM2.5, and PM1 is performed using ASLUM portable sensor, which provided by Academia Sinica Taiwan and Rododo Science. Monitoring was performed for 24 hours for each 10 microenvironment. This is the picture of those 10 microenvironments where it's included for office, 3 laboratory, a corridor, a library, and a mechanical shop. The result from this research indicate that from all microenvironments, mechanical workshop appears to have highest PM concentration, while for carbon dioxide, all microenvironments have concentration below 500 ppm, while temperature is around 25 Celsius degrees and humidity between 60 to 75%. This is due to the fact that all of the microenvironment is using air conditioning as their ventilation system. For variation of each particulate matter concentration, higher concentration of all size particle for mechanical workshop was observed, especially at afternoon around 11 to 12 p.m., while higher PM concentration for office B, office C, and office D compared to corridor, library, and laboratory with concentration around 30 to 40 microgram per meter cubic. Library have lowest concentration of PM in all hours except at noon around 12 p.m. All size of PM clearly have similar trend of concentration for each microenvironment. In order to have a clear detail on PM concentration, average concentration of PM was calculated between non-working hours and working hours, where higher non-working hours concentration was observed compared to working hours except for library. This can be resulted from the suspension of particle after air condition was switched off after 5 p.m. Significant difference of PM2.5 concentration was observed between non-working hours and working hours, where the statistical analysis was performed using t-test analysis. Furthermore, person correlation statistical analysis was performed in order to check for any relationship of PM, temperature, humidity, and carbon dioxide for office, laboratory, corridor, library, and mechanical workshop. Overall, there are strong correlation between all size of PM in all microenvironment. Another strong correlation between carbon dioxide and humidity was observed in mechanical workshop, and another strong correlation between temperature and humidity in library. Strong correlation also was observed between all size of PM with temperature and humidity for the location of corridor microenvironment, which indicated that all size of PM is producing for the same source, and PM concentration was also affected by humidity. Deposition fraction of particle in human respiratory tract was identified using multiple puff particle dosimetry (MPPD), where this software established by Applied Research Associate. This software can calculate the deposition fraction of particle in human head, tracheobronchial, and pulmonary region. Overall, for PM2.5 concentration in microenvironment, highest deposition was observed in human head, followed by pulmonary and tracheobronchial, while deposition fraction for head is actually increased with increasing diameter size of particle. For tracheobronchial and pulmonary region, the highest deposition fraction was observed when the particle size is 0.1 micrometer and 2.5 micrometer. The conclusion for this research are PM10 still low when compared with the recommended level suggested by Department of Occupational Safety and Health in all microenvironment. However, Office B and mechanical workshop has exceeded the PM 2.5 level recommended by USEPA, where recommended level is 35 microgram per meter cubic. Higher PM concentration during working hours is where around noon, and higher particulate matter PM concentration during non-working hours can be due to the resuspension of particle. Moreover, PM10, PM2.5, and PM1 had showed similar trend in all microenvironment. Relative humidity has showed correct correlation with PM concentration, which suggests the influence of humidity to the PM concentration, especially for microenvironment that using air conditioning as ventilation system.